Hello, Elizabeth here. I am now 37 and a half weeks pregnant and can't believe how fast time is flying. As we get closer and closer to the estimated delivery date, I am very much in awareness of both how much I would like to do and also how the timing of things is totally out of my control. So, I wanted to share what I'm doing this week, what I'm thinking about, and hopefully inspire some of your own ideas or thoughts. And a lot of the things that I'm experiencing right now can be done at pretty much any point in the pregnancy, but this is what I'm focusing on. So, first and foremost, thinking about the postpartum time. Obviously, that's a theme of the work I do and what I feel really passionate about. So, as I've kind of been in preparation for life after the baby comes out. This week, I have been doing a bit of a trial run in terms of apartment setup. So, making sure that I know where the baby's things are going to be in my room. And for the first couple of months, the baby will be in me and Warren's bedroom, which means that like the cute nursery that we've been working on is pretty much just going to be unused space for the most part. So setting up, making sure spatially it feels really good. One thing that I write about in Mama Eats First is that wherever the home base of the mama is during the first 40 days, which in my case is my bedroom, it should really feel as much of kind of a sanctuary as possible. So a big thing for me is having like clear space and reducing clutter. So take in some of the baby essentials, put them organized in drawers, and then anything that's not essential, I'm taking out of the room as well. Uh, and it's been really fun to kind of set up and play house and to move things around and to see what we actually need. I remember with Lila, with my first birth, I didn't necessarily think about it. And so, other than the bassinet, everything was in her room. And I found myself in the first week always moving over to her room. And this time, I'm like, we're just setting everything up in the right place from the get go. So, we're good and feel at home. And I feel really good in the space. Um, and the other thing that I've been doing is grocery shopping. So, with Lila, I was so fortunate. I moved back in with my in laws, or I moved in with my in laws for my 6 week postpartum recovery, and everything was kind of taken care of. The pantry was already stocked. Warren's amazing mother Lee Fen was doing the trips to the different markets to get the respective ingredients for the postpartum recovery. And this time, although Warren's mom will be coming for the first few weeks, I don't know if she's gonna come before or after the baby. I don't know when the baby's gonna come. So I've been doing a lot of grocery shopping and a couple of things that I've been getting. And again, I lived in Shanghai for 8 years. A lot of the flavors of kind of Asian cuisine are very comforting for me and feel so good, which is why that's the kind of the style of cooking that I'm totally embracing with this second postpartum recovery. But based on your heritage or background or what your kind of comfort foods are, you might be finding yourself shopping in very different markets or getting different flavors. But some of the foundational so 40-day postpartum recovery foods that I'm really excited to be eating again are things like some ingredients, some goji berries, which are really high in minerals, vitamin C. They can be added to everything, soups, porridges. Dried mushrooms. These are dried shiitake mushrooms that I also add to a bunch of different soups to make more of like an umami flavor, super immunity boosting. I also have some dried ginger that I just got from one of the markets in the Chinatown here in Valencia. This is added to teas, soups, stews, porridges, sweet and savory. Excuse me. And then I've been collecting different rices. Valencia is actually known for growing rice, so I have a bunch of Valencian rice that is wonderful, but for certain recipes and dishes, I do need sweet rice and glutinous rice. with Lila, Warren's aunt Diane, she fermented at home this special. It's kind of like a sweet rice wine called Jioniang or Mijo, and it is delicious. And it was basically the base of this soup that I would have for breakfast every single morning. And this sweet rice combined with a special type of yeast. I'm gonna try to make my own this time. So I don't know how it's gonna go, but I'm gonna try. And I do love to ferment things, so hopefully it'll be a nice experiment. But so this week I'm going to be try to make some jeonyang, which will be the base of this yummy soup in the mornings, which is jeonyang with these are dried longan fruits, also known as dragon's eye. And in traditional Chinese medicine, jeonyang, the fermented sweet rice wine kind of thing, plus these longan fruits are super heat creating in the body. They're very like hot foods energetically. And this is a really big part of the postpartum time in, especially in traditional Chinese medicine. So eating a lot of foods that are warming. This soup, as I said, has the jeonyang as the base, which is cooked so the alcohol comes out. And then I add, or leaf end, but I will add in these dragon's eye, some goji, and then 1 or 2 poached eggs, and that is what I'll have as kind of my breakfast on most mornings. So I'm gonna be making that. Another big staple that I got a bunch of are these red jujube dates. So these are Chinese dates. They're called hongzao in Mandarin. And these make for pretty much the foundation of the tea that I'll be drinking for most of my postpartum recovery. They're just boiled in water for a period of time. Sometimes some ginger is added, and it's just like a slightly sweet, very warming and energizing tea. There's no cold things, no raw things that I'll be eating in early postpartum, but I'm gonna be having a lot of dates and also adding dates to some soups. And they're not as sweet as medjool dates. These are way more kind of mild in the sugar content as well as the flavor. But I'll be going through a lot of them. I will also be having some medjool dates. So I'm so grateful. My favorite vendor, one of my favorite vendors at the local market in Valencia, Sandra, has amazing nuts and fruits and seeds, and she just sold me a kilo of medjool dates that are enormous. I don't know if you can see these. And a recipe I love to snack on and recommend to my mamas in their postpartum is to take a medjool date, pull the pit out, and then fill it with some sort of nut or seed butter like tahini, almond butter, or walnut butter, or I personally love hazelnut butter. And then I also love cacao and the magical and healing antioxidant and mineral benefits of cacao. So drizzle it with some melted, very, very dark high cacao content chocolate. And they can be made in advance, which I'm going to be doing over the next few days, stored in the freezer, and then taken out as needed for an energy snack pick-me-up of sorts. I also got a bunch of fresh ginger, which because it lasts for a long time and can never get enough of that. I am making some dishes now. So as I referenced last week, I've started making a couple of soups and broths. I made a really yummy beef bone broth and some cauliflower soup. And this week I'm going to be making some Ayurvedic khichdi, which is basically yellow split pea, like the chana dal lentils, with a bunch of turmeric and ghee and cilantro and a couple other spices, which is just this like really yummy kind of like savory porridge that makes for a really good freezer meal and can be easily defrosted and eaten with rice. So I'm gonna be cooking a lot, but in the meantime, also making sure I have the ingredients so we can continue to cook in the early days of postpartum. And what else am I doing this week? Oh, well, it kind of feels a little bit like a spa week for me. I feel so lucky. I have all these appointments that are falling over these days. So this morning, I just went to go visit an acupuncture clinic that I wanted to establish care with and just have as a connection in these final weeks. at the end of pregnancy, acupuncture is kind of famous for its uh, impact on potentially turning a baby if the baby is breech or not in an optimal position, and also for helping to get labor started. That's kind of the reputation of acupuncture at the late third trimester. But luckily, this little guy is in a good position, and I'm at this point not really worried about any sort of like induction time. So I really just wanted to connect with the acupuncturist at that clinic, and let her kind of get to know me and my body, because in the postpartum times, if I am in need of anything, she'll have this baseline and kind of understand where I'm at and what my unique needs are. And it was also just a great, really relaxing experience this morning. And then I also have a pregnancy specialized chiropractor later this week, who helps to kind of get my body in the optimal position and the baby in the optimal position. And then I'm also getting a prenatal massage. So it's just going to be a really great week. And then pretty much every day this week, I've been doing a yoga for labor sequence that one of my kind of coaches and spiritual mentors gave to me, kind of from the Kundalini tradition, but a very physically grounding practice. So I've been doing a lot of cat cows and some nice lunges and some pelvic tilts a lot, and I'll continue to do that this week. So that's a little bit of kind of, I guess, labor prep, pregnancy maintenance, and then yeah, some looking ahead with the furniture setup, and also more of the food prep. I definitely notice, and everyone's different, I definitely notice that for me, I really feel like safe, secure in a space of kind of nesting when I'm in the kitchen, when I'm making food. And it's different for everyone. For the mamas that I work with that don't necessarily love to cook on their own or at all, something that can be really fun at this time, around like 36 to 38 weeks, would be to invite some friends over and have kind of like a meal prep afternoon day where lots of love is going into whatever food is being made and cooking together, and freezer sealing a bunch of kind of backup meals for yourself, the mom, as well as for the family, if that's helpful. And if inspiration is lacking, or if you're like, what are all these ingredients? Something that I love is just going on a simple blog. Like, I love Minimalist Baker is a great blog where they have a lot of one pot soups and dishes, things that can be made pretty easily that are really nourishing and delicious. There's obviously a million blogs and cookbooks out there, and there are also some really cool blogs and cookbooks that specialize in foods that have kind of galactagogue, like breast milk production, positive effects, or postpartum recovery from different cultures. So definitely getting inspiration can be really helpful during this time. And one more thing I'll add is related to food. Is that when this week and onwards, I've started making a list with notes of meals that myself or my family really like, and kind of keeping that as an inspiration list that can be running for in the postpartum time when me and Warren are feeling tired or drained or like blah. Or if someone asks if they can bring something over, we can refer to that list of like, oh, we love this sort of thing. And that's a bit of an extension of what I was talking about last week, which is making a list of professional and personal people in your life that you can always reach out to, or you can rely on, or you have in your pocket as loving supports for you. Because I mean, it sounds maybe silly, I don't know if it does or not, but it can be really surprisingly easy to forget just how resourceful and resourced we are, and how many people and also how many different foods are available to us. So having those lists that can be referred to that we're making now is a really great practice. So that's really what I'm doing this week. I don't know when this baby is gonna come. I'm so excited. I can't believe it. It's like, in this part of the pregnancy, 37 weeks, technically the baby's full term, fully cooked, as they say, but it could be another 1 week, 2 weeks, or even 4 or 5 weeks until he comes. So it's, for me, a practice of just being in a state of openness, which is exactly what I want to be in energetically for labor. So more to come, but just doing a check-in, and I hope that this is helpful or inspiring in some way, and I'd love to hear what you're up to in your pregnancy, whatever stage you're at right now. So wishing you well and having a wonderful day and week ahead.